Here we are again. Oh boy. Tell you what, these red days, these red weeks, right? Where just like every day just feels like it can't get much worse. And now I know, this isn't like sell off April 2025 or even back in March when the war thing began. But it's just depressing, right? Am I alone in this? Where it's like, these days aren't good enough for really, I feel like, to be buying some big puts, to be, you can't gauge on almost anything. It's been super, super difficult for me this week. Last week wasn't bad, but this week and I even said this on Monday. I even said, I kind of want to pull a Berkshire Hathaway, just sell it all, put it all in some kind of decent dividend, not dividend, but monthly interest thing, and just sit back for a while. I said that on Monday, and then like Monday, and then Tuesday, and then today, it's just been blah. And I'm just not feeling it. I'm just really not feeling it. This morning I woke up thinking, man, I gotta do this live stream, and I don't have much to say. Other than hold on to your butts, to quote that guy from Jurassic Park, OG Jurassic Park there, but I don't know. Hopefully we can make this thing a positive video, but we'll look at some stuff today. We'll do some ORB training on some opening stocks, things like that. But other than just trying to find the rotational thing going on, man, like 2 months ago, maybe roughly, I was calling out. Everything I called out was primo. I was like, hey, we're getting out of tech, we're going to software, we're going to space stocks, we're doing this rotation. These are my 10 I'm looking at, and like all 10 were just stellar. Space, stellar. Didn't try for that. And then just now, I don't know, after, tell me if are you guys feeling the same way? SpaceX, that whole thing was, I feel like a flop. It went for a decent number, of course, upwards of 160 or something. That was very nice, but just felt like it didn't do much. I've seen other IPOs have more fun, right? Circle, CoreWeave, a few others, they did really good. They hit a peak, and they hit another peak, and another peak, and then I don't know. I mean, I know it's not over with. Obviously, it's still very fresh and new, but I don't know. Just not too sure. Not too sure about everything here. But anyway, let's get to some comments. We got a few things going on here. Let's see. Devin, good morning. Crypto B, good morning. I did open up this today's live to everybody. I wanted to. Oh, did my thing get messed up here? Sorry if my screen got all funny for a minute. I opened this up to everybody because I wanted to discuss a few things, a few things beyond just stock. I want to talk about the server, the Discord, things like that today. Weldon, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Let's see. So Devin said, needs some help on where you think SPY is going. Yeah. In a put, 60% definite, needs some help. Yeah, I'm about 60%. 60% profit. That's great. That's wonderful. I mean, anything above 30 is nice. But I don't, as you know, people that have known me for a while here in Discord, I don't run off percents. I know we love to see those big numbers, those big 100 plus, the home runs, right? I know Mo always calls out the home run calls, not calls, but home run percents on options. For us that are you know, newer into this and we're learning things, and I feel like it's best to just go off of the play. What is it doing? What's it going to give you? What's it telling you? Can a TA support more, right? Is the stock able to do more for you? And if it's not, take what you've got. You know, green is green. It might take you longer to add up more. But if you look at my channel, Tech Goat, over there in Discord in the Earner Plus, I have a post, that screenshot from last week. It's not like, you know, sexy. It's not cool. It's a little over $1,000 for the week. It's nothing like, you know, these big, huge gainers, but it was like $150, $200 roughly averaging per day, and it added up, right? So I think it was like 33% week. It's nothing like, you know, ooh, I didn't freak out about it, but it was consistency, and that's what I like. I like consistency. So for Devin, let's see what you're asking here. Help. Been doing good these past 2 weeks. Now this is a bad trade. Okay, so you must be 60% down. I don't know. I mean, SPY's been falling. I'm not sure how you'd be in a deficit here on SPY. We can look at SPY and see what, you know. Let's actually, I have it pulled up here. I can swap over to it. Let's see. 1 minute. No, I go to 30. All right. Now, unless you got into it like yesterday, where yeah, you're not gonna. It's been flat, dude. I was so frustrated. Yesterday, I spent hours. I mean, 3-4 hours straight. Okay, not straight, off and on, but cumulatively, most of my evening, I was out in the mountains just relaxing after hours, for the evening, and I was on MSEU 2026. It's this S&P 500 micro futures that mimic the S&P. And man, I was waiting for this thing to pop. I know Jordan Belfort in our Discord was part of us. He was in calls for 738 calls on this, and it just did not move at all. Look at this. Look at this. From that sell-off to nothing. We're kind of nearing the 50. It might be able to close above the 50 today, but of course, we have two big issues we need to discuss here. I'll get to those in a minute. I'll focus on you first. Remind me though, someone remind me if I don't get back. We need to talk about two things coming up tonight that you need to be wary of both. Let's see. I know some folks won't trade from Memorial to Labor Day because of the rate of, yeah. Well, you have sell-off May. You have midterms for this cycle. We have midterms coming up, and normally midterms in the summertime, or the market's terrible because of the uncertainty. So yeah, we have a lot of issues between I guess Labor Day. Yeah, that's a good one because it's a holiday that just starts everything rolling, right? So yeah, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, it's rough. And then of course Labor Day, well, you have September, October, and what's then? Earnings season, and usually Bloody October is what they call it. So, and then of course this year we have the midterm elections. So it's gonna be like I started this video saying, it's gonna be flipping difficult to do options. Now, if you're doing shares, you're gonna have days like weeks like today where my portfolio is literally just red. It's just, I mean, I wake up and it's like, oh, there I am, there, red again. Where you can feel very frustrated very quickly. I'm feeling it today, where I'm just like not trying to be Debbie Downer today, but it's really hard to see like where's the bottom on anything. Where SpaceX is selling off because actually today it's not. Actually today it's doing a little bit better today. It's doing okay. Still below that trend line, that green trend line there. So where's SPY going? I don't know. So here's a funny part. Get this. I got a notification about the Japan market, and I was just laying in my hammock yesterday up in the mountains, and I'm just like, I wonder how much, of course, this is after hours, right? This is like 7 o'clock Mountain Time, so 9 o'clock New York. I wondered how much, I'm going to show you right now, how much does the Japan market really dictate, especially after hours, our market. And ironically, let's see if we can correlate these, because when I was doing it live, it was creepy how they correlated. Literally 98%. 98%. So let's try to optimize this a bit and see if we can get them to look similar. Obviously, I have the visual range profile over here, and I don't I don't know how to pronounce this. Nikkei. Sorry. SPY just ripped. Yeah, I can see in the 30-minute the candle is trying to get above the 50, but it is overbought in the 30-minute candle, 30-minute time frame. So watch for a pullback here. And maybe we are going to be going up. I would love to get back to this range up here at 744. Are we going to get there this week? We definitely could if earnings on Micron today are good. If Micron sells off with earnings, it's going to pull the market. And that's one of the two things I wanted to talk to you about. But the first thing I wanted to mention was this Japan thing. They had a sell-off just like we did, but of course they're ahead of us, right? So when we sold off the exact same time frame, so here's Monday after hours. Monday after hours. Sorry, I moved my mic so I can clear my throat. So it wasn't loud in your ears. Look at that time frame. They're exact. But because, now I could be wrong, I just find this correlating interesting, that if Japan is ahead of us in the time frames because of, everything, if they sold off first, plus they also had rate hikes, was it 2 weeks ago? Their economy had a rate hike in their federal rates. If they sold off and then that pulled us down instantly, like off a cliff that night, and we've been down, they've been down. I find this quite interesting, where how much does Japan really affect us? Maybe everything, we're all connected. I know that. Everything's interconnected with everything. They own a lot of our debt with bonds and different things like that. But if they're selling off bonds and they're selling off tech, which I know they own a lot of our tech stocks, then we're going to be feeling it too, right? So they're not even above the 50 right now. They're trying to push above the 50 right here. Well, this is a 30-minute. SPY 30-minute. Look at that. They're very much the same. we're a bit of ahead because we are live. They're not live right now. They're in bed, but I believe it's bedtime for them. But so their market's not open yet. But if we can push up and hold, and Micron can hold, then it'll help them out too. So if I don't know, just watch these correlations. It's the one thing I can give you is after hours, if you see things getting funny, pop over and look at the Japan Tinker. You can Google it. You can TradingView, and just see what's happening in Japan's markets. They run between I think it's like 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. I know that's 4x, and they're a bit shorter, something like 9 and 2, something like that. Google it for your time zone, you'll see it. But I think the correlation between the Japan market and the U.S. market are highly linked, and it's interesting. So let's get back to SPY. I wanted to just share that with you guys real quick, just because I found that very interesting. Where can SPY going? Well, obviously, Devin, I mean, if you're 60% down and now it's in a call, yeah, you're pretty much toast at this point. I don't know what else to tell you. If you were to put from over here, 737 and ran it down, then you would be great. But if you got into a put, yesterday toward the evening at 735, yeah, there's not much you can do. Cut losses and just move on. Unfortunately, it's nothing financial advice here. I'm not trying to give you all advice on what to do, what to buy, but there's just it is what it is. Puts mean you're betting that thing's going to go down, and here we are looking at SPY right now, and it's just obviously not going down. So we could try ORB on this thing and see what it looks like. 7:30, 15-minute time frame. Find the first candle that's closed, the 7:30 candle. Mark top and bottom, including the wicks. Move to 5 minutes. Optimize your screen. There's a first candle that is above the line. See, the wick is above the line. It's closed. This is the first one. Second candle here is closed. So this is our confirmation candle right there. So this is a bullish movement for sure. Obviously, we can kind of tell that because the things are moving up. But let's see, SpaceX is not really moving. How's other tech doing? How are things moving out there? Anybody else looking at anything? This looks good. Google's definitely moving. So we've got some movement now with tech. Short movements. I mean, overbought already. Getting signals for overbought on Google already. First candle would be right here roughly. No. Oh, it's this crazy one. Yeah. See, I hate that. It works on these, but these candles that have just massive wicks, it's like, I do wonder if that throws it off, Little relief, breaking resistance, but also here's the thing. Micron, just like back with Nvidia or Broadcom, Microsoft, no, kind of Microsoft, yeah. Any of these big dogs, and now Micron's a big dog. It kind of wasn't like a year and a half ago. Now this thing is being touted as like the next Nvidia. If this thing, and I'm gonna guess this thing is gonna. Oh, I'm in this far. What's another $100? What's your expiration? Let's go with that. What's your expiration? If expiration is tomorrow, I mean, you I feel you. What's hard, isn't it funny that as we start as traders, we see losses like if you get almost immune to like losing sometimes, like on these rough times where it's all red. It's like you just see so much red in your portfolio. You're like, all right, well, it'll come back or it won't. I mean, what are you gonna do? So if your expiration is like tomorrow or Friday, I don't know. If Micron sells off, like I was just saying, Micron will have a big pull in the market, especially on the Qs. If it sells off, then I would see SPY pull right back down to I would expect it to pull right back down into here, 735. It might go farther. Oh, end of today. Okay. Well, good luck. I don't know what to say. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, just because it's rallying right now does not mean that in an hour this is going to be back down below. It doesn't. These things happen all the time where the market pushes up because the banks are doing this as a bull trap. Everyone jumps in, they start buying more shares, and then they sell it all off, and then goes back down. So, that happens all the time. So, I mean, what are you going to do at this point, right? So you could manage in between. You could try doing some calls in between to kind of just help your portfolio out. It won't help that contract, but it can help the portfolio. Hey, Crystal, what's going on? So the two things that we're going to get to is Micron's earnings. Like I was just saying, if this thing can get to, 739, somewhere in here, but then stop there, I expect it to be choppy the rest of the day, and then wait for earnings tonight from Micron. If Micron sells off, it's going to pull the market right back down. I'm expecting to at least open up somewhere in the 735 range because that's kind of what it's been doing. So 730, 35. It's funny, last few earnings for good companies they've beat double beats, right? And they still sell off by $20. Why? It's really hard to tell. So, you might be able to expect a beat and it still sells off. The big takeaway from that would be that it's ran so much this year in this last quarter that it's just the investors and the big money makers going, hey, the company did well, we're taking profits, we're going to pull this thing back down, and then we'll run it back up again. So that's kind of how things roll like that. Unfortunately, that span is usually between 2 and 4 weeks before that bottom and then pull back up. So it's for those that are expecting, like money for their living, that's tough because you're going to be waiting on that thing for a while. Same with Marvell. They joined the S&P 500 and they're already in the NASDAQ. They joined it on Monday and they've been red ever since. Because, and I mentioned this in my channel, I said likely they're going to be taking profits Monday, so be careful. And they have. So Marvell's been down since they were added to the market. That doesn't make any sense, but it does when you realize that the news came out, they rallied pretty good. The market makers took their profits as soon as Monday came. Now they have to hold enough shares to satisfy the requirements, but that doesn't mean they can't push the thing down. And then eventually they'll buy in again. So, be careful with that one. Oh, right. I'm going to get the comments in a second. I promise you I'll get comments. I want to show you this. Where's the marker here? Okay. Another big wrench being thrown in the plan here is, what is this, tomorrow morning? Yes. Tomorrow morning, before market opens, we have the PCE, core PCE, month over month spending, also quarterly GDP growth rate. So we've got some pretty decent Fed data coming out pre-market tomorrow morning. So not only do we have Micron earnings, but now we have core PCE and some GDP Fed data also hitting in the morning before the market opens. So that means anything that you do tonight will be affected by the results of this. And who knows, right? I don't expect them to be wonderful. I mean, their forecasts, if you go off the forecasts, they're not awful. This one's pretty bad. This durable goods one, that's atrocious. 8 down to -4. That doesn't look very healthy there. The GDP looks pretty good from 0.5 to 1.6. So it could be a mixed bag of data, which may not do much to the market. But you have that on top of Micron, and ouch. It's just going to be it's going to be a complete, box of chocolates tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. whenever market fully, like, pre-market opens. So, yeah. Oh, here we go. All right. So anyways, let's get back to the comments here. All right. So that I talked about SPY. I'm thinking 739 today. Oh, we're already hitting that. All right. So how high will it go? Overbought has stopped. Wow. Okay. So we might push pretty good. Let's see. Is there any support resistance back here? We passed that. That'll be resistance. So now we're just pushing up to the top here. Okay. See, this is when I should have been in my futures buys. That would have been up hundreds right now, but of course I'm not because I'm I'm here doing things. I don't do live trading well with trying to talk to you guys, especially mornings. It's tough for me. So let's see. Devin, okay. I have only 4 losses the past month, 19 wins on 1 trade a day. Cool, great. Yeah, just made a really bad call on this one. Should have gotten it sooner, but you knew better. I mean, we get hopeful, right? We go, well, a lot of turnaround, a little bit of rally, then it falls off, a little bit of a bull trap, right? So I mean, I can see why we've been down for 2 days. It could be one of those consolidations before it drops off again easily, right? But we're hitting the 739 mid-range, a little bit of red. We'll see if that can then pull back down again. We might just rally up for the half day, and then the market sells off coming into Micron earnings because it's going to be a big pull. So it's hard to tell what it's going to do today, really, to be honest. And not just the SPY, but all the stocks. I think it's going to be difficult. Uber. Let's look at Uber. Oof. Okay. So Google just dropped under the orb line, which means that orb has failed at the moment. Now you could always, since this is a pretty decent channel, you always could do a midline attack where you drop into puts and you target the midline of the orb channel, one of these deals. So you always could do something like that. It's a bit more of an advanced orb, but it's not like it's hard. A lot of times, if you see here, we have a big chunk of candles that are consolidated right around the midline. So a lot of times stocks will do that where they will fail on bullish or bearish, and they'll come back to midline to reconsolidate, and then they'll try again. So I'm not promising this will do that, but a lot of times it will. So you could go into puts from here and have a $2 move. It's not going to be massive, but it'll be something to help you out, and then wait to see where it's going to move from there. I'm leaving this up just for kicks and giggles, and we'll see. So let's go look over at Uber and see what, wow, okay. Let's go to 15 minutes. We'll do orb on that just to show you. So we've had it flat to somewhat bearish. We've been on this downtrend for a while. Something like that. And then we broke out. So something like that to there. It's not perfect, but it gives us an idea. And then we had a kind of a down channel. Whole thing was really a channel, wasn't it? Looks like something like this. So those green lines, very rough drawing. I'm not even trying to be specific, just give you an idea. So we had this bull flag. So it kind of does this, doesn't it? It has this rally, then a pull down, a rally, pull down, but overall bearish movement for quite a while. And then a big bear flag, and then a long pull down, and now we're back into the bear flag, bull flag, bull flag, going north, right? Bull flag. So it kind of does this where it tries to consolidate on a downtrend, and then it blasts off by $5 roughly. 70, 74. Okay. 68. So that one's a bit bigger for sure. And then we go down. So now we blast it off from 70 to 74. So it's likely going to stall out pretty soon. It did get above any of the other candles this last flag, so that's good. It broke resistance. Where will it top out? It is right at resistance with an old early June. Was it June? Yeah, early June candles. And then all of this. So I'm guessing it's probably going to start chilling out pretty much between 74 and 75. I think 75 would be a really big push for this thing without some kind of awesome news that maybe I don't know about something going on with it. But it is screaming overbought on the 15-minute frame. I would think that if 75 is going to be, it's probably going to be done right there. Let's go with this. That white line probably is going to be it somewhere in there. Then at that point, likely it's going to follow the rest of the history that it's done before, where it spikes up and then it kind of trickles down for a while. So once this is done rising, you might be okay with doing some long-term puts. Last 3 spikes we just looked at did that. It ran high and then trickled down. So if you have like a 4-week put, you know, something like this where it ran all the way up. You know, here it did. It ran up and then it did another step up. So be careful with doing puts right away. But at some point, it did then trickle all the way down. So we had a 774, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to a 7. So $4 loss across like a week. So here we go again. You know, we'll see. We'll see what this thing can do. But that's my guess. It's going to do a nice bull flag and then trickle down and then kind of do one of these step up deals. So hope that helps with that. Weldon said, oh, sorry. When's earnings today? Earnings for Micron is after hours today. So as soon as market closes, it'll move initially based on some of the reports that come out right away, and then it waits for the conference, which is usually an hour after close. They do an actual like audio conference and whatnot, and they talk about their stuff. That's when the big move will happen, generally. You might get a big move up front, and then it readjusts during the conference. So that'll be after hours today. Fed data comes out pre-market morning tomorrow morning before you can really do much. So we're going to have a big move with the market based on what Micron does. Then we're going to have a big move. Well, we're going to have a move with the market when it comes to the Fed data, all in the same overnight hours. So yay, that's going to be fun. I looked at orb indicator trading view, but there's dozens. I don't use any orb indicators. You make your own. You just do your own. I don't use an indicator. Only indicator I use is Mo's bread recipe and then this fair value gap deal, just because I like how it really acts and helps me see support resistances as a visual. That's the only reason I use the fair value gap indicator, but Mo's is the only true indicator I use. I mean, I guess if you want to say RSI and MACD are indicators, fine. But like as far as like what tool best to help me out make trades, Mo's bread recipe is elite. There's nothing really like it that's as great and combined in all of what it does. But no, you make your own orb indicator. It's really that simple. You don't need to purchase anything. You don't need to and it's not an indicator. It's just simply a strategy. I would never call it an indicator. It is a strategy. So like for for Google. We already have this one set up, and here it is. Just going right down what I said it was due. You mark the 15-minute first opening candle. So you wait the first 15 minutes. When the next candle starts, that candle that just finished closing, you mark that one, top and bottom, including the wicks. Move to a smaller time frame, 5, 3. If it's a large moving stock like Tesla, Google, Microsoft, Meta, 5 minutes is fine. If it's a slower moving one, SoFi, Walmart, Nike, those kinds of things, Rivian, then maybe you want to use like a 2 minute. But if they're moving fast, 5 is totally fine. And you wait for that finished candle, the candle that's the first candle that's going to be done. Now we never actually, this one is funny. I thought we got a candle that finished here. Maybe we were too premature in that, because this ridiculous doji right here, this giant candle, do you see it? I'm going to make this bigger. I'm just going to erase that. This candle isn't even a candle. It is literally a doji. It's a thin line here, and then this huge wick right there. You see that right here? I mean, that right there is telling you that there's a massive indecision and likelihood on this end. Since it moved up, it's going to fall. This candle was all right, but see, all of this broke the line. So really, we couldn't have worked on orb with this because it broke. Oh, it was this one. That's right. SPY had the first confirmation candle that worked okay. Yeah, Google never did. Yeah. So this was broken by the orb line. This is broken by the orb line. This is red. Obviously, we're not going to then trade on the bullish side of things. And that doji is flipping huge. So that's a really strong signal that likely it's going to be a shift in trend. And then here we go. So, I mean, like I said likely it's going to fail on the bullish side. It's going to drop down to midline, consolidate there, and figure out where it wants to go from there. So I would not be surprised to see in 5 more minutes a candle right here. I would not be shocked. And then it's going to sit in there for a minute. If it fails the 50 and the 5, then we'll see it drop down to here. And then likely, I'm guessing, it's going to bounce, and we're going to see it come back up here. We're just going to kind of chop in this channel today. It's waiting for too much stuff. SpaceX has a bit of a rise today. Okay, cool. So we opened low. We broke the 50, holding the 50, heading toward that trend line. That's nice. So we'll see. 15-minute chart. So like to see that. That's a strong signal that likely we have a good indication that we're going to be heading toward 160 on SpaceX. But again, if Micron fails today, it's going to pull everything down. That's my take on it. I could very well be wrong. That's my take on it. Why don't I have my visual range profile on here? Anchored volume profile is what I use. Oopsies. That's what this guy is. So when you first add this tool to your chart, it will be tiny like this. I just added it. Not sure why I didn't have it before. It'll be small, and as your chart moves throughout the days and weeks, it will build on it and then give you a better reading. Eventually, I do like to erase it and start over so it's fresh within the last week. Some of these I have going for a long time, like this. I've had this one going for months. And so it might be time to get rid of that and start over. But I do like having it because of the historical stuff all the way down here. So in case we have some massive sell-off, I have some levels to work with that are already stuck there. Like the 710. That's a nice strong level. This is a weak zone. So between 727 and 715, roughly. It's a kind of a weak zone there. We're in a strong zone here, as you can tell. Our candles have just lined up, right? They've lined up along this section of the visual range profile, shows strength. And we have a bit of weakness as we goes up. So the all-time highs obviously don't have anything way up here, but yeah. So anyways, so yeah, it's funny. We have eight viewers according to YouTube today, and I open this up to the entire Discord. Normally it has just been Earner Plus. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay, never mind. So this is the Discord. Everyone here that's already watching already knows Discord. Those of you, I mean, if you don't mind, if you could pop an answer into the chat, if you have an opportunity to do this, how many of you that are not yet in the Earner Plus level and and want to be in here? The reason I'm saying this is kind of salesy. Just give me a second here. Is this is all new for Mo. He opened up all of these hired in educator traders, different styles of things to help out boost the value for Earner Plus. Obviously, we get the extra trading day with him, and of course, we get the bread recipe, which is, like I keep saying, is amazing. But how many of you are not in Earner that would like to be Earner? Because I know he's been really trying to figure out how to get more that want to be in to be able to afford it. And the best case scenario I've got for you is one of these links right here. So I'll put it in the chat. And basically, it's a payment plan. You pay the $4.10 per month to get access to Lifetime right away. This is the Lifetime Earner Plus. So there's really, I mean, I get it. It's not cheap, but I mean, what you're getting for Lifetime is incredible, and his recipe is absolutely nuts. Like there's a few times mine's turned off, and I'm like, oh, and so I'm waiting for Mrs. Mo to fix it. I'm kind of blind, and yeah, you can set up other indicators, but man, this thing is just so wonderful to have, and it really helps out knowing how to enter and exit and what's going on beyond just standard EMAs. So I really encourage you, even if you're in monthly Earner Plus, or you're just in the OG Earners back before we even had Earner Plus, to really take a look at that link. I believe. Let me actually try. Let me try the. I'm gonna try the link right now with you live and see if. Yeah, there's my email. Whatever. It's my old one. I don't use it anymore. Okay, it does work because Code Mo works and takes it down to $253 a month. Actually, I just didn't even see how many months it goes for. Sorry. So it's $253 a month for a year. Okay. All right, for a year. So this is the original price, but you put in Mo, and it drops you to $253 a month for a year. Okay. Now I get that. That's like it's like it's a really decent payment for something. I understand, and so I'm not trying to push too hard here, but I really want to get those that have not been in the Earner Plus or Lifetime yet to take advantage, because the prices are going to keep going up as we go. I know, it's just kind of how things roll, right? So just consider that. All right, this is the best opportunity to get into Lifetime Plus. Is this link right here? Code Mo, 40% off. It's you can't beat it. All right, I've been part of others out there for a few years, or at least listening to other people selling their access to things, and it's like $500 for a quarter, and there's no lifetime access. There's no long-term access. You pay the $500 per quarter, and you have to keep redoing that. And of course, there's others that are, oh, I'm free, and then you join them, and it's like ultra basic, and there's no regulation and guidance, and it's just tough. So, all right, enough of that. I wanted to just pop it out there for everybody and just let you know that's my take on things with this. This white line is just part of Visual Range Profile, so kind of ignore that white line. It sends that out as a midline. Our orb white line is this one. We could do a different one. We'll do teal. There we go. No one commented, so I'm assuming everybody's an Earner Plus that's already in here. But if you're not Lifetime yet, and you're just doing monthly, use the link and give it a shot. I understand it's a bunch, but 200 a month, 250 a month. If you were to trade consistently a little bit every day and add that up, you'd have that up in the month. Like I did 1,000 last week without really doing too much, and that was just options on my small account. That's not even shares. So if you were to do a small movement a little bit at a time and save that for the payment, then you're really going to be getting access to this thing without having to pay for it. So let's see. There it goes. There it goes. Look what I did. So this big, those that are entering now and watching, this big dirty circle here was just explaining that a lot of times stocks will consolidate in the midline of the orb channel, which is right here. Purple on top, purple on bottom. Here's center line, and that's right where we have a lot of consolidation from earlier. And then it bullish movement failed, and I said, okay, well, we're going to have a drop right back down to midline here. I drew that circle 5 minutes ago, and look where it's plopping into. Bingo. So if we had run those puts down, where is that? Here it is. From this candle, once we start seeing it fail, if we ran those puts down, like I said, if you scroll back, you'll see I already talked about this. We would have been perfectly in line for an easy gainer on this. Small move, I get it, 489.51, not a huge run. But if you could drop in 3-4 contracts on that, you're looking at about $200 right there. Bingo. Maybe 150 with pretty solid confidence. Now at this point, I would sell them. Could it consolidate here, drop further? Of course. You could maybe sell 3 if you had 4. If you sell 3, keep 1. See if it'll roll down to the 50 or break through. I'm still live? Yeah, of course I'm still live, man. I started at like 9:40 or 8:40, so go for 1 hour. Yeah, man. So yeah, that's cool. I called this out, 10 minutes ago? When this red candle happened, I said, all right, we're going down to midline. We drew midline, and I explained it, why, and I called out that candle. Yeah, there we go. We're bouncing off midline. So that's why I said I would have sold them right there on that tap. Maybe let one run just in case, but that's what I would have done. I'm not doing much of anything, Jordan. I was explaining the orb on Google here, how it failed up here, and that if instead of planning for calls, we swap and adjust, and we plan for puts to the midline, how we can use the orb channel for a midline attack, and that's exactly what happened. If you scroll back a bit later on or whatever, that's what I said. I drew this box down, I drew this circle here, and boom, it was 100%. 100%. I even said we're going to bounce here, sell them off right here, and if you don't, you want to hold a little bit just in case. But if you sold off 3 of, let's say, if you had four puts, you sold off 3 right here, as soon as you start seeing this one go, you sell that 4th one off. And heck, you could rotate into calls at that point. Sell off all your puts from the top end, and now we're going to rotate into calls. We're going to drop a call right there. We're going to target a tight stop loss because we still aren't too sure. Maybe just above the 50. We're going to get rid of this circle now. And then we'll target the top end. Or you could straddle it. You could have both. You could have one of your puts running down just in case this does continue. And you could add 1, maybe 2 calls on the upside just in case it starts to run. Be conservative about that because this rebound is really tight. So I would be worried that it's just a consolidation before a failure. But yeah, we'll see. That 738 call paid today. Yeah, unfortunately, so my yeah, you hit 738, perfect. My futures I was in overnight, I had like a 10% stop loss, or it was a trailing on it. So it closed me out in one of the dips, and obviously, and then I see it running today while I was live, and I I didn't reopen it. So yeah, I should have reopened it here when I saw it starting to take off. I should have been like, ooh, let me get back into that, but I didn't do it. So good job, man. Yeah, it's hard to tell what I was gonna do. That was really frustrating yesterday watching that thing just chop all over the place. It was like, what is happening? It was just really frustrating. These chops are just ridiculous. That was this morning. But last night, we went all the way down here. We went all the way up there. It was like, it was one of these dips. I think it was this one here before opening. Is I had my profit set for 20% or something like that. And so it closed me there, so I wouldn't go negative. But while I was sleeping, woke up to it closed, and then I got ready for this thing. So I did not enjoy the run with you, but great job. I mean, I wasn't super red or anything. It wasn't like it was negatives when I closed it, but wasn't what I was hoping it would be. You know, if I had been on that, yeah. We can look at it real quick. This is what I'm talking about. Mess. No, is it mess? Hold on. I'll pull it up real fast. Yeah, mess you. Oh, right there. Duh. So yeah, price action. Let's go look at the. Not that. So right here, as the EMAs were changing to about. Come on now. So 40, 42. So how futures work is you have a tick value and a tick. So tick meaning how much it moves and how much that move is worth. And on this one, we have a tick of 0.25 with a $1.25 per tick. So for every whole number it moves is $5 worth. So if we had gotten into this right there, that confluence of all those EMAs, and ran it for that blue price movement, it will be conservative. Let's say 41. So that means that for all of the whole numbers at a $5 per whole number move on this futures, it'd be $205 in profit from this point to that point. Actually, we did 41. There we go. 41. So in that move right there, $205 is what your futures would have grabbed you from this move alone right there. So I left 205 on the table because mine closed out over here overnight, and I didn't enter it again because we were talking, but it ran at 8:20. So just as I was starting to talk to you guys, it was running, and so I did not get the 205. But if this thing can move with Micron tonight and with the earnings Micron, and then the Fed data in the morning, then we can push to get this thing back up to baseline way up here at, well, this isn't the SPY, but yeah, you get it. The baseline SPY, what it was, 747, something like that. So, and that would be a huge push. You know, a whole nother 40 something points, because we already, 80 from earlier, 40. So another 40 points we could possibly get in this movement, which is another $200 from here, $300 from here, higher for sure for the futures. Of course, for SPY, we'd be looking at pushing this thing from 239 into, as high as, 747. So that would be ideal here. Kind of run out of time. Not sure what else to talk about with you guys. I had said this thing might run to 739, 740, and that's where we're kind of topping out. Uber, did that thing push past? Nope. Nope. It seems like it's tapping that 75 line, like I said, and it's going to start struggling here. That's my take on that. We do have overbought pretty heavy here. There's this shaded value here on TradingView showing like, hey, we're really high. 91 on 15-minute is very high. So look for Uber to potentially starting to curl over here. It could push into the 75s. I mean, we're at 75.27, so it's a bit harder than I thought it was going to be anyway. But we're really close to that line for rejection. So watch Uber there at the mid 75s to start turning around. It might do a drop down to 74s and then rally back up again before it fails back down with this trend line. It just depends how things are going to go with that one. Space. Oh, we have a 13 over 50 on the 15-minute for SpaceX. So that's cool. So that's going to definitely push this up and try to hit this trend line for 159, 160 breakout potentials. Again, Micron's earnings though, not much today is going to matter if the market is upset with what happens with Micron and Fed data. This is all great stuff for 0 DTE for all expirations for today, but oh, okay. So here's what I'm talking about. It was risky doing calls here because this is a tight turnaround. And that one, if you had held that one put, it would be testing the 50 again. So that's cool. So you get rid of those calls right away and see if it fails the 50 on the 5. And then if it does, chances are it's going to fall to at least 348 and then at least down to the orb at 347.50. So that's how I would have played Google today. Aim for calls. Nope. Adjust. Let's do puts to midline. Okay. Wait for confirmation of something happened. We're pushing past the 50. So likelihood we're going to go down to here. That would mean, I would imagine, is there any other... It's Tesla. Here's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is just holding flat. Typical NVIDIA. Just chopping away at everything. What's Tesla doing? Pretty flat. Some sell-off. Space is still holding. Yeah, we're pushing past. So here we could drop down to like a 3-minute and see if it... Yeah. So it's confirming 50 below. Or below 50, I should say. MACD is definitely down. RSI is falling. CCI falling. So it's likely going to retest, not retest, but test this lower orb line if it doesn't bounce off of 348.40. That's my guess. It could consolidate right there in the middle for the rest of the day. I mean, it's hard to tell at this point, but those are just ideas of what it might do. Now that it's failed here, it's confirmed here. I was correct on that. Now I'm out of suggestions at this point until it makes better moves. Uber, going back to Uber again. Kind of a red candle. Like I said, it's going to start turning around here between, 75.50 possibly. SPY still tapping that. Kind of a double top here. 5-minute candles. You have a double top. Potential double tops right here. 1, 2. So it's failing to move bullishly above that line. So likelihood is it's going to start to crumble. Doesn't have to, but watch for it to start crumbling down at this point and aim back for somewhere between 738 and mid 37s. If in fact this is a true double top. 5-minute candles are not really great ones to follow when it comes to chart patterns like that. I like more of a 15, but it's still looking like it can't get past this line. That's a very, very flat try. And so usually a strong failed bullish movement gives you a pretty strong bearish movement. So we ran up, we hit that ceiling, and now we've hit it. It's not going down, or it's not going up. So now it's going to reject, and it's going to have a pretty strong bearish movement. Again, all these are guidelines. None of this is guaranteed, but that's generally what it does. Look at that. That's flat. That's a flat top plateau right there. Now I can consolidate and find some news and then pop it through, and then it'll be okay for another few bucks. But if it doesn't, if this fails here, you'll see it fall back down. I mean, it's been down for 2 days. Like it's due. But potentially could have a fail and fall back to the 50 and then try again. Like I said, this Micron earnings and the Fed data, it's a crapshoot right now. Yeah, consolidating along the 50 here at the mid-range of the ORB on Google. SpaceX aiming for that 160. Like I said, it's going to try for the breakout. But again, it's going to be highly dependent on earnings today with Micron. That's my take on that. Uber holding that red. Let me look at the watch list, see if there's anything that I can spot that might be fun to talk about. I don't know. Murphy Oil, that's one I've been kind of eyeing. Let's just go this one. Mur. The reason I'm going to turn these off to show you so it's a bit easier to visualize. Check this out though. It's kind of cool. So this has been in a pretty solid trend line since April. And just go something like that. And so I kind of like this where it's been really consistent with its tops and bottoms within an average, right? This channel. So while we had a reversal here, let's get this MACD bet down a bit better. Well, we've had a reversal here in the last day or two, which doesn't really sit with how it's worked before. I mean, kind of hits a valley, has a little bit of a dip, hits a valley, have a dip before it runs. These ones are kind of choppy in here, but potentially get through today and tomorrow morning so that we have some more, chill time. There's probably more earnings going on that's pretty big, but I know Micron's is tomorrow. There's a potential here, if you look at historically, if you can get back down, open up tomorrow somewhere down here, let's just say, there's a potential as you can open up a, I don't know. How long is this? February 29, and we peaked around May 29 to June 11th. So 2 weeks roughly for it to peak. So if you had like a 3-week call on this one, opening somewhere in the 34, so like a 35 strike for calls, once it gets down there, potentially we can, you can run it back to the top of that target line, for a $3-ish move on Murphy Oil, and it's really cheap. It's a very cheap stock. So, watch this one for potentials of bouncing off of that lower trend line and then regaining back up here. I don't know if it's going to do it again. It's done it a few times. It may not. It might fail and fall with oil prices going down. It might do okay. This is kind of a bull. It's not really bull pendant, but it's a descending wedge. So just Watch that one. I thought that was interesting because of the shape, but hope it runs down. Give me back my 300. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not looking great for a breakout here. I mean, look at this. It's still stuck at that level. So, what do you need for to get your money back? 735. Because I mean, it's potentials there. If midline of orb is roughly 735.50 ish, somewhere in there, they'll get you most of it back. You know? Yeah, here we go. Curving down. What'd I tell you? Man, when TA works wonderfully. It's crazy how that happens. Look at this. Look at this. So 3 for 3. I said 75, and here's red candles, potentially showing a curl down at 75. I said SpaceX is going to be pushing for 160 breakout, way back over here, and is pushing for it. Not there yet, but we'll see. Google, I called this one, failed. It's going to go to midline. It did. SPY, I called 139, 140. It did. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, am I playing any of those? No. I guess I do. I'm playing SpaceX. I have shares from IPO, and I'm also playing the inverses and such. So my inverse actually right now would be down, right, because it's going up. So that's not helping me at all. But it's okay. It's okay. My other shares that are SpaceX are being helped by this. So that's cool. And then Murphy, we'll just see what that one does. I don't know. It's looking like it's getting below 50 here on the, okay, it's on the 3. Ignore that then. Yeah, so we're still above the 50 on the 5, and well above the 50 on the 15. Still midline. That wick kind of tapped and pushed back up, so we'll see on the 10. MACD does have its first red block, so could be still pushing down to this orb here, and there goes the SPY. So yeah, guys, let's go over here and look at QQQ real fast. This is the Fibonacci. I'm just gonna get rid of it. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. This is an old orb line. Get rid of that. Optimize this. 2 hours. I'm like, why does this look so funny? That's why. Jeepers. All right. Sorry, making it dizzy. Oh, this is interesting. Qs are really flat. Some sell-off here for sure. He almost had a signal. It keeps flashing 513 on the bread recipe here, signal. And it might do, I don't know. I kind of want to. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm not a bear. I don't like playing puts at all. I honestly hate them. I just feels so counterintuitive to me. I just can't stand playing puts, even if it's in futures. Just buying a sell order for like acting as a put, just feels so. I don't know. It feels so icky to me. It's just weird how I do that. I don't know. Anyways, those are my levels. I don't have much else to say. Unless you guys have anything you want to look at real fast, there's not much else to really talk about. I mean, with Micron and Fed coming after hours in pre-market, it's going to be really iffy for tomorrow morning. Now, once the morning opens up and it settles to whatever it's deciding it's going to do, then you can reevaluate everything. But for today, to hold options overnight is definitely going to be an entire lottery pull. Not going to know what it's going to do. So anyways, that's it. That's all. I don't know much else to cover here. I'll give you guys a few seconds to kind of wait for some lag, for some comments. And see, breaking. Trump says he'll sign the bill limit. Oh, that's just the bill to limit big dogs from owning individual homes. All right. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Yeah, it may not make it. I would be shocked, to be honest, if SpaceX can even make it. The market's starting to pull down. I don't think it's going to have the gumption to really break out today at all. I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, too much pressure. I think it's going to tap that trend line. It's going to reverse. Maybe tomorrow, if we have better news, it'll break out, possibly. But right now, I'm not seeing it. Who knows? Yeah. All right, well, there's no new comments, so I guess that's going to be it, folks. Thanks for stopping by. Again, tag me in the Discord if you do want to get other links for the lifetime access, if you want, to pay a bit faster, that kind of thing. Every little bit helps me. I do get a small commission based on using my links. We volunteer here mostly. I am paid a little bit for this 1 hour of live streaming, but outside of that, the rest of what we do in the Discord is all volunteer work, and except for the small little kickback commissions we get from using our indicator bread recipe links to get the what am I talking about? Earner Plus Lifetime is where we get a bit of our kickbacks here. But I'm not trying to just push this because of wanting you to be in. I just think that this price point at $253 with the code is incredible, and you'll be in forever. And you don't have to worry about that. And I really think that we all can help each other gain that $253 back per month by making solid calls and puts and shares. And look at this, $200 on the futures. Just today, just this run right here is $200 in futures on one contract, and there you go, pays for it. If I run, if you got up here and we ran it back down, that's $400 in the last 2 hours. If you don't do futures, you want to do options. Obviously, you do the same thing. 2 or 3 options running up, 1 or 2 running down. There you go. In one day, you paid for it. So I know, kind of a sales push, but it is. I'm serious though. I just don't want you guys to be stuck, and price goes up, and you're like, oh man. So, and Devin, I know you had a comment. Market close. Market close are open. Are before. I think the SPY is going to come down in your favor a little bit. I don't know if it's going to get all the way down to 735. It's looking like it's kind of holding right here. I don't know. It's going to be a hard call to see where it's going to go. But, hopefully it can get back down to where you get, 736, somewhere in there, and you can get some of the money back. That'd be great. All right. All right. Well, that's it for now. We'll see you guys in a bit. Let's see, where am I at? I do, what's today? Wednesday. So I will not be back until next Wednesday. Monday, I will not be on the 29th, but the 1st. So July 1st, I'll be back. live. Of course, I'm in the Discord, so go ahead and tag me there. If you need anything, if you want to run questions or get a link from me, go ahead and do that. Also, I'll post the monthly link in the monthly payment, not monthly access. It's a monthly payment to lifetime. I'll post that in my channel on TechGoat there for those that want to upgrade, and I'll go ahead and just post it right below my link right now in the live stream. Actually, I'll figure out where to post it. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to do that. I'll figure that out. Anyway, it's also right here in the chat. So, okay, thank you. See you next week. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Have fun out there. Be careful coming into tomorrow. And Friday, of course, being sell-off day. So this week might be tough. And I just looked back at all these things, and it looks like they're all holding. So, all right, thanks so much for stopping by. We'll see you in Discord.